Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to look at some of the facilities we have available to help us work with strings. These are the operators, string operators, and the input function. So some of the traditionally arithmetic operators are overloaded to also work with strings. So we already know that plus is defined for combining numeric types like int and float types that we see here. But plus is also defined for strings. If both of the operands are strings, then plus performs string concatenation. So I can combine two strings like hi and there to concatenate both of the operands together to produce a single string, hi there. Times is defined to perform string repetition, and in this case one operand must be a string and the other must be an int. So if I type the expression hi, which is a string, and use the multiplication operator with 5, what I'll get in this case, I've got one operand as a string, hi, the other is an int, 5, so I'm obeying the rules here. And what we'll see is we've got a repetition of hi 5 times. If you prefer, I could do hi space and multiply that by 10. And in this case, we'll get hi 10 times. Okay, so very easy facilities for performing repetition of strings. The percent operator is also defined for strings, and it performs string formatting. But really, it's a deprecated feature that we won't be using in COSC 121 because the format method that we'll see soon is much preferable. It's easier and more powerful for formatting strings. Also, in an upcoming video, we'll be looking at a lot of other very useful utilities for processing strings in various method calls, but that's coming a little bit later. So the program that we have here, the very brief program, s is hi. If we print s plus there, a single argument is being passed into the print function here, and it is the concatenation of whatever's referred to from s, which is hi, and there. So that produces a single string that is hi there with no space, and we'll print out the result of that. Then on the next line, we can print out s, which refers to hi, plus the space, plus there, which produces a single string, hi space there, that's passed to the print function and is printed out. We can also use the function str to convert a int value, n, into a string representation of that int. So let's just do this in the shell separately first. So n is 10, s is n is okay. So if I was to try to concatenate s plus n, what will happen is we're trying to do concatenation on a string and an int. And if we remember the rules that we defined over here, concatenation works, well, it works if both things are numeric, but that's not the case here because s is a string. And it works if both of the operands are strings. That was our rule we defined on the previous slide. So this, we would expect, won't work. Let's try it. No, we're getting a type error. Must be string, not int. So essentially what we're trying to do is concatenate a string and an int, and Python doesn't know what to do with that. So we can instead convert or use the function str to create a string version of the argument that we pass in. So we're asking in this case for a string version of the int value 10. And you see what we're being shown here is in quotes. So this is a string value. N is 10, but str of n is a string. And if we want to, we can even check that the type of n is of class int, and the type of str of n, okay, the type of the string of n is unsurprisingly a string. So if we try to do concatenation of s and the str, the string of n, that's perfectly okay. We get n is 10. So when we run the string n is 10. So when we run this program, everything comes out as we'd expect. The first print statement produces hi there. A single argument is passed to the print, the concatenation of s and there with no space. On line 3, we have the concatenation of s, hi, a space, and there. So we see hi there when we print that out. We have an int value that is 10, and when we concatenate n is, the string n is, with the string version of the int value 10, we get n is 10 printed out. It's worthwhile you trying these on your Wing IDE in your own time. So we've just done some repetition examples too. In this case, one of the operands must be a string, and one of them must be an int. So if we have s equals hi and n equals 10, we can do s times n to see the outcome. The input function is also very, very useful for us. We can pass an argument to the input function that is a prompt, but it's an optional argument. That's what the square brackets mean here. This is just my way of representing the syntax for the function. Okay, so prompt is an optional argument that shows some output to the user of the program to show that the program's ready to receive some input. The return value of the input function is a line represented as a string, and the line is the line that the user typed. So if we say name equals input, what is your name? Okay, we're passing in an argument to the input function that is the prompt to display. It'll display that prompt to me, what is your name? I now type Andy, and Andy will become the value referred to from name. So we can look at name, and it's the string Andy. If you want to read numbers, you have to convert the string using int or float as appropriate. So if I'm wanting to say age equals input, what is your age? Okay, I can write 101. Now, if we look at age, it's a string value 101. So if I want to have access to a numerical value, so let's say it's my birthday and I now want to add 1 to age, age equals age plus 1, well, now think about what I'm trying to do. Age refers to a string, so I have something that's a string that I'm going to try to concatenate 1 onto. And if you remember, the rules for the plus operator is both things must be numeric when you're adding two numbers together, or both things must be strings to concatenate them. So this again is going to be a syntax error because I'm trying to combine with plus a string and an int. So instead, what I'd need to do is say age equals the int of age, and now what I'm doing is evaluating the right-hand side, which returns an int representation of the age that was input, that was 101. I can now look at age, and we see it's 101 without the quotes around it anymore. I can check the type of age, and it's an int. So I can now do age equals age plus 1. And I can look at the value of age, and it's 102. So if you want to read numbers, converting them to you need to convert them from a string to an int or float, depending on what type of value is being input. So as an exercise on your own, you might want to think about how you would write a program that prompts for a person's weight in kilograms and height in meters and prints their body mass index. The computation that you need to calculate for BMI is its weight divided by the square of their height in meters. So have a go at that, and I'll show you how to solve that in the next video. Thanks.